name is Nicole and I blog at Dabbling all day. I really loved making the last video that I made, so I wanted to come back and do another one, share a little bit more of what I'm working on. I kind of meant to record another one after a fortnight, but a fortnight came and went, and such is life with a small person. So it didn't quite happen, but I feel like I have found a little bit of time this afternoon, and yeah, I've got a little bit to share. I spent this morning at the Black and Coloured Sheep Woolcraft Day in Pakenham, and that was really fun. I got to catch up with lots of familiar faces, which is great. It's always nice to hang out with some yarny friends. So that was really good. I've been trying not to buy yarn this year. Been trying to use yarn from my stash, but I did have a little bit of a discretionary purchase of these two beautiful skeins of Tandy yarn. It's the Tandy Polworth 8-ply, and this is a hand-dyed yarn that was dyed at Tandy by Bryony, and I love it. I love this kind of olivey green. It's really beautiful, and I think I'm going to use these two skeins to knit our little fella a jumper for next year. I also bought a contrasting skein, which is a kind of slaty grey colour, which I think should go okay with it as a contrast colour. There's not quite enough meterage in this to do a jumper from what I could tell with quick Ravelry searching. So I bought this one to maybe do, the collar and cuffs, button band, that kind of thing, depending on if I do a cardigan or a jumper for him. So yeah, I should have a bit left over of that, so I'll have to find something fun to do with the leftovers. I've been working on a couple of hats. I've been stash busting, and I've been working on some hats. So I've got another one of those hats that's almost finished. I'm just working on the very top part. It's the pattern that I'm using is the garter stitch ear flap hat, which is a free pattern on the Pearl Soho website, and it is such a cute and super fun little hat to knit. This one needs some finishing still, but this is what they end up looking like when they're done, and they're super cute. They've got little ear flaps and a little tassel on top, and I have really loved making them. I've made one for Arthur, which I love putting on him, and I'm a bit sad that the weather's heating up. I'm not too sad because it's time for the weather to be a little bit warmer, but I love putting it on him. It's so cute. So I've just been making a few of those as gifts and things. So they're a great way to kind of use up the stash. In the last video that I made, I was finishing up some socks for my mother-in-law, which are finished now, and I finished them a couple of weeks ago, really not long after I posted that last video. I finished them up. I finished the heels, and after a little bit of stuffing about with the ribbing and the cast off, I cast them off one way. I used a tubular bind off, which I think I mentioned I wanted to try, and it was way too tight, so I had to pull that out, and then I used the Old Faithful Jenny's super stretchy bind off, which I've been using for pretty much all my socks this year. It's a really good one, so definitely recommend that for socks if you're looking for one. In saying that, I haven't cast on any more socks, but I have yarn ready to go. This is pretty much the last full skein of sock yarn that I have in my stash. This is Sweet Georgia Tough Love sock, which I got in the Yarn House Boxes Socks subscription nightmare. So this is my last full skein of sock yarn that I'm about to cast on. I've literally got my needles at the ready, so I'm gonna cast that on probably after I finish recording this, or potentially after dinner, depending on when the little fella wakes up. He's having a little nap now. So I'll cast those on. I'm going to cast on the Walkerville socks, which is a new pattern from Whiskey Bay Woolens, and they're having a bit of a knit along, the homeward bound knit along. So you can find all the details about that on their Ravelry page. I'm going to start trying to put some links underneath the YouTube video and possibly in a blog post as well. So I'll try and pop all those things, but yeah, get along and join in. It runs until the end of October, and there's some really beautiful, beautiful skeins of yarn that Kylie has as knit along prizes. So you know, it's always fun to try and to be in the running for beautiful yarn. The other thing that I've been kind of thinking about that's been on my mind, I have quite small feet, so when I knit socks for myself, I have tons left over of yarn, you know, 100 gram sock yarn. I generally have quite a bit left over. So this is my leftovers. I've just finished the square socks for myself, and this is how much yarn I have left over. It's probably about 30 grams, and that's after I used it for the contrast toes and heels on my mother-in-law socks. So I've got myself a gorgeous little basket, and I've got all of my leftovers and some odd things in here too. So there's my yarn leftovers from sock projects that I've been doing this year, but there's also a few bits and pieces like these fellas here, which are leftovers that were from my grandma's knitting basket. She as long as I remember, has knit socks for everybody. Or she had, she passed away at the end of 2015, so I inherited her knitting bag, and it had lots of leftovers, so I'm really keen to use those and my leftovers to make some scrappy socks. So I think once I kind of get this last hat off my needles and I start these Walkerville socks in this beautiful blue, I'm going to start putting together some scrappy balls, and I'm going to make myself some scrappy socks, and probably potentially my husband and the baby and a lot. I think I'll be knitting a lot of scrappy socks. I have a lot of scraps. So that's going to be my last kind of final push for the year, to use up all of my sock yarn. Yeah, I'm keen. I'm keen to use up every last bit that I can. I think it's nice to use up all those bits and pieces. So I think that pretty much sums up everything I've been working on at the moment and what's in my brain knitting wise. So what are you up to? What have you been knitting? Thank you if you're still watching at this point. You've watched me ramble on for a little while. Yeah, share what you've been knitting, what you're thinking about knitting, and yeah, anything else you'd like to share. I love having these little chats. Thank you for watching. Okay, bye.